Over on my Twitch, I broke down all the songs that I produced on the album I recently dropped, You Can Do All Things. And I wanted to turn it into a video because I remember some people before on my music channel asking me to make tutorial videos, and I didn't really know how to go about it because I don't know, I never thought of making tutorial videos for making beats before. But I think a breakdown is probably good enough. Maybe it could help with some things. And I really enjoyed making this project, which I can't really say about anything else I've made music-wise. And I think because of that, this album kind of had like story. Like I felt really proud of it, I guess, which is why I'm kind of pushing this more than I ever really did. And I would go over what I was going for with all the songs or with the album in general as a whole, with the placements of everything, but that's a little too boring. If you do want to know that, maybe I can do another one of these breakdowns, but at the moment I'm only breaking down 3 songs because 7 is a lot. And I'm choosing these 3 first because they were my first attempt at making transitional beats, pretty much trying to transition from one beat to the next, and I think I did cool. I imagine it was passable. Now, I wouldn't say there was anything deep with many of what I was saying throughout the album. I think more so the theme and the direction was mainly the important part, because at the end of the day, I just wanted songs that are funny enough for people to enjoy. So let's get to it. The first one I'm gonna show y'all is Dip. This is the 3rd song on the track, and this was actually the last song I started on while making this whole project. I wasn't actually aiming for that song to be on the album, but I ended up really liking it when I made it. I was like, damn, how am I gonna squeeze this in on here? And I'm like, you know what? I think this will work going right before the 4th song, which is Watch and Learn, which will be the next one. Because of that, that song is one of the more randomer songs in the project. It probably took me the shortest amount of time to make, because I remember working on it the day before Thanksgiving and then releasing it on Thanksgiving. So it was kind of like a single before the album even came out. But alright, so the sample to this song is by Charles Fox, I guess. It's called Josie and Jill. And I just be finding samples and I just try to put them together. And as you can see, I chopped them up here, but also there's a pattern here. And what the pattern is me using a plugin called Serato Sample. I remember feeding for this joint for the longest time, and I just never, and I just barely ever used it once I got it. So this was one of those days where I was like, let me try sampling this joint. And I ended up coming up with like 3 different ways to sample this song. But basically, if you don't know what Serato Sample is, you drag a song into the window and then it pops up on the screen. Sorry for the scratching, that's what happens when you drag through it. What it does is you can set it to play on a note, like a random part of the song on a note. When I click, it starts playing a certain part of the song. That way, you can just play it on the piano and chop it. So that's what I did here. I exported this and then I made a different project because I was making multiple chops of this, as you can see here. Maybe if you can see. This is where we get this project. Now it's arranged differently because I was planning to send this to someone else, but I just ended up having the idea out of nowhere, and yeah. It has 2 808s, the first one being a go-to of mine. And then when the trumpets come in on the sample, I felt like I needed a much more like stronger or just more standout 808. So that's where this next one comes in. Then I got to the hats, the open and hi-hats. The open hat's got like a bit of a reverb and delay to it. And hi-hats are very minimal in comparison. Until later, when I start adding more. Then of course the clap. One thing I've been doing recently on my beats is to the 2nd and 4th snare in the measured. I don't know, I haven't talked music in a long time. I would layer it with maybe another clap or a hat or a snare. This time I did a snare with a lot of reverb to it. Anything to make those trumpets sound as grand as possible. Then at that point, I'm just adding a bunch of extra instruments like rims, maybe some sound effects, just to make the beat have more to it than just a clapping, a hi-hat. I think having some variety throughout the beat is important as far as like textures go. Just so kind of, just so I feel like I'm doing some work. The only other thing I did was add an imager to the chops that I did. And all that kind of does is kind of give like some space. An imager kind of makes a sample or melody kind of feel more lively, makes it more stereo, depending on how you set it. You can even make it more mono if you want, but this is it without it. This is it with it. Maybe you can tell the difference, maybe you can't. But I don't know, it just sounds a little more professional to me. Oh, and then the other thing I added along with the sample was a synth. It's called a spooky lead, but it's like it's pretty much a sine lead that I got from Xenology. Xenology I use a lot for instruments. I need to find more VSTs for making melodies because I don't really make them too often, but that's my go-to all the time, using Xenology Pro. It's fine. And like I said, this didn't take me long to make. I kind of just came up with shit and just moved on to the next, and then just went to my cousin's house for Thanksgiving. So it's a pretty short song. I don't have a lot of going on, not a lot of ad-libs or nothing. Just
you ain't fucking with me or my Negroes. I ain't got shit to say, I'm no hero. Man, I can't talk to bro, you a weirdo. Mess with gang, you get shot, no B-roll.
So I did have some layers thrown in there because it needed something. Oh, and also I should probably explain why everything is multicolored. These colors don't mean nothing. They actually piss me off, but I have a very ghetto method of recording. I usually use my microphone that I'm using right now, which is a HyperX Quadcast Core X. Niggas don't use that for making music, they use that for gaming. I have a studio, but it's got a lot of old stuff, and I kind of only use that for when I rap like in the next song. But when I do melodic stuff, I do it up here, just quick and easy, because I do a lot of takes, and I use Audacity, record the same line multiple times, so the one I like the most I keep, and then it goes in the final product. So like if I extend this one,
if we ain't talking change, why you here? If we ain't talking change, why you here? If we ain't talking change, why you here?
Like that one was ass.
If we ain't talking change, why you here?
Alright, woman jump scare there. That ended up being the final take. And then I do the next one. Yes, I know. Please don't kill me, but that's just, it's just quick. It's quick and easy. I don't mix my stuff. Kevin gave me a preset. Shout out to Kevin for my vocals, so I've just kind of been using that, maybe tweaking a little bit. This is one of the few songs that you can probably consider a freestyle, because I was just coming up with lines and going to the next one. Usually when I make songs, I had stuff that I came up with like maybe from months ago to years ago, from listening to other songs or listening to other beats and just kind of freestyling in my head. I don't really freestyle. I wouldn't say I'm good at freestyling out loud, but I come up with lines and I'm like, oh, let me keep that because I think it will sound good in a song for later. And this was before I even was thinking about writing songs for myself. I was just like, I feel like if I were to be in the studio to write for somebody, I could come up with some decent hooks. And some of those hooks that I come up with end up becoming parts of a verse or the hook itself. I didn't do that with this one, but I did do that with the next song. Now we're going back here because the next song is Watch and Learn. Watch and Learn actually uses the same exact sample as Dip, which made it a lot easier to transition into because all I had to do was just make them fade in so that it didn't sound muddy. So this is what the first chop sounded like. And the second one. And then I just used those two into the first beat. Now, once again, I was working on Watch and Learn first And the really important part of that song was really the first 4 lines. The rest was filler. There was one of those songs where I was just going through my phone, look at the list of lines I had, and just put them shits together not for the most part, for a lot of it. But the beginning of the song was the part that I wanted to go after matter of fact, just for the sake of continuing the story that I was trying to create in the project. So here is the beat for Watch and Learn. This went through a lot of takes. I was gonna have some other people on the song, but with a different beat. The beat that I was choosing before, it just was like, felt too redundant, I guess is the word, because it was like another new jazzy type of beat. So instead, I just went with a beat that I made as well that's much faster. This has 3 808s, fast hi-hats, I think just a clap, and then a bunch of extra sounds and like 2 voxes. I have a lot to look at here. So we can look at the 808 first. So first we have spins. The other ones you hear is I don't even know what to call this, like a bass pluck. And then an 808 that plays very short. There is one that plays for a long time like this in the beginning. And hi-hats and claps. Damn, you know, it looks like there's a lot going on, and it kind of is. But it's just to not make it seem too repetitive with just 4 count of hi-hats. Claps are pretty regular. I added things like voxes or just like voice sound effects. I don't know who's saying it sounds like someone I've heard before, but I don't know. And as well as a sound that's from like Take Care by Drake, which hopefully I don't get destroyed for that. And hey, so 3 voxes. Thought it was 2. So at that point, I'm just adding rims, some open hats, some side claps, just that there's more going on. Even another snare. That's the beat. Then I add another guitar just to have another instrument playing, not just be the sample going on by itself. I don't really have a reason to show y'all the vocals for this track because all I did was rap. And I do not like making those songs, I'm not gonna lie. I hate how I sound on them, and also they're hard as hell to mix. So thank you again to Kevin for mixing that one for me. So you had to suffer through that for however long you had to get me the sound passable. Now I do need to go back to dip though, because I already forgot to show y'all the transition part. Since I showed y'all both samples, all I ended up having to do,
I just remembered who I am.
Was take the beat for dip and fade in the chop. And instead of the regular beat playing where it's that chop, it's the one that's coming up. But I still wanted the trumpets there, so I have dip in there very quietly, in comparison at least. Now you also probably noticed that the song is much slower. Probably not that much slower, but 110 BPM. The original was 117. I just sped it up a little bit more. I do that a lot with my songs because I don't know. I guess nightcore is my thing now. I did the same thing with What Happened. A lot faster on that song, as well as With You Win, I slowed that one down a little bit. Now for the last song I'm about to show, this is Hey Ma'am. This is a song that actually transitions from one beat to another within the song. And I felt like I had to do it for my very first love song attempt, I guess. It's kind of weird how this idea came to mind, but I really like it just because of just having the idea and actually executing it the way I did. It was damn near like exactly what I wanted, to be honest. It's very interesting how it started though. It started by listening to this song. Let me find it.
Had a few thoughts I was better forgetting. Geek up just for the change of the setting. Bitch on my line when I hop in, I selling. She came to my place, we was heavily petting me. said that she had to be jetted. High as a mountain, man, look like a Yeti. Smoke in the room, but I'll never be swam. Been lit from the jump, even lit when I'm
Shout out Redsterman. Now, I want to point out, this song has nothing to do with what I was talking about here. I just like the beat. And one thing I did, like I said before, when I listen to beats or listen to songs, I kind of just come up with flows or other stuff in my head or ideas. And some of those ideas I was coming up with while listening to this song, I was like, you know, I should make a love song, like just the stuff I was ended up saying. So the inspiration for the beat was that song right there. So I started with the drums first, actually. Usual adding instruments for texture, having a clap, hi-hats. This time it's one 808 and it's like a yeet type of 808. Then you got a rim, some type of, I can't even explain that type of clap, but I like it a lot. Open hats. Another layer for the claps. Yep, yeah, I think I added an extra snare. Oh, and a tom as well. The hi-hats change pace throughout the track. We have some fast ones, or I guess faster ones, and then some slow ones. Kind of like drill almost, or maybe new jazzy. I don't know what to call these type of beats, bro. I just be making stuff. Now for the melody, ooh, rare moment. I made the melody from scratch. So I work with Cole a lot. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but compared to other producers, I work with him a lot. He tends to ask me for these things called midis a lot. If you don't know what midis are, they're basically what you're looking at right here. This is like the piano roll. So if I were to send him a midi, I'm sending him exactly what he will be looking at, and then he can add whatever instrument he wants to it. I was going through some ones that I made myself just because I felt like trying to make some melodies of my own, and I was never using the ones that I sent him. I don't even know if he used this one ever, but I tried to use it. I use Trusty O's Xenology. I have that woodwind instrument as well as this guitar. And then another guitar. I really wish I knew how to play piano. I've kind of just been only doing this with my mouse because I don't have a piano up here. I have it in my studio, but I don't even know how to play it, so there's no damn point. I will learn one day. But at that point, that's the beat. And when it came time to making the song part, because I started with the beat, I already knew what I wanted to do with the beat. I had a few lines already in mind as far as the hook was concerned for the song. But then when it got to the verse part, I had no clue what to do because this honestly wasn't the important part of the song to me. So the beginning part was kind of like a lot of filler. Because of that, I ended up kind of just coming up with some whatever I could think of. Even when I was trying to say something like personal, I just couldn't think of shit. So I was kind of worried what people would think about the song as a whole because, you know, this is the first half of the song. And for it to not be the important part, I just was like, damn. Like, fuck, have I never been in love before? Jesus.
Hey, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, and this song isn't about anyone, by the way. I should kind of point that out. Like, SZA, I know you're wonderful and all that, but this wasn't about you. I'm sorry. This is an idea I had, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did. I actually should kind of clear that up. Nothing on my project was about anybody. I've had people think that I was talking about different people or certain people throughout my project for some reason, hilariously enough. But no, I don't have, at least I don't have beef with anybody. And I'd hate to feel like I'm probably hurting people's feelings over, you know, songs where I'm saying, what did the fox say, ring-a-ding-ding-ding. But no, I have a lot of song ideas and lyrics that I kind of come up with. And with this project, I ended up repurposing a lot of the older ideas that I had for those lyrics and just reworked them for even this song, I believe. I don't know, it just felt cool to me. Like I almost felt like a writer or something, which even though I hate writing, I never liked English class, which is probably one of the biggest reasons why I don't really want to be an artist. I just stick to YouTube or making beats. But this project was important to me. I think it wraps up a lot of what I learned about life a little bit this year. So with that being said, I started on this song first. But then as time went on, I ended up working on another beat, which I'll get to now. Now, because it's all in one song, it's still called Hey Ma'am, but on the short film, or if you were there for the stream or watched the YouTube version, I called it Sorry Ma'am. And this is pretty much like where my head goes at when I hang out with anyone, to be honest. It didn't really matter if it was like a person I would be with or friends or even family. Like, I don't know, something's wrong with me, bro. But this song was very easy to make. Now, I also made the song in the same project as the beat. I don't know if it's a thing you're supposed to do or not, but right now I have it muted so that I can just focus on the beat. Siren is another producer that I work with a lot. He sends me melodies, and I just make beats for him. And this was another one of those melodies where I was just supposed to make a beat on, but I started liking it a lot, and I was like, yo, I could use this for the track that I was thinking about making before. So we had some pianos here, some twinkly shit, which in the original, it kind of comes in earlier in the melody, but it just sounded better later. And then a sign lead. And then the rest was up to me. I went with some short 808s. I don't know if they're spins or not. Oh, they're like Z's. Pretty slow, 122 BPM, but they get quieter and then back loud again. Instead of the usual clap or snare, I think I used a rim. Yep. As well as hi-hats, open hats, some weird perk sound. Some snaps. And some weird sound effect. I couldn't even tell you what it is. The infamous chant reversed. Let me see what it sounds like reversed back. Oh, someone's saying yeah. Okay, well, I added reverb to it, and yeah, because a lot of my beats, I kind of, especially recently, I've been adding a lot of voxes to like the beginning count of the measure. I don't think it's anything revolutionary, but it's just something I've been liking to do. In fact, some other beats on the album did that as well. I think I used a lot of Ganondorf sound effects from Smash Melee, which is a game I never even played. As the song progresses, I add another clap. It's a weird sounding clap too. It's kind of like I'm like clapping somebody's cheeks or their face cheek. But at that point, that is the instrumental. Now I remember why I had to make the song on the same project as the beat, because Siren really loves to piss me the hell off. So there's a name on the melody saying 50C detune. That's 50 cents. What that means is that he detuned the melody a little bit. So normally if he made it without detuning it, it would be like a key that I could sing on using my auto-tune, because I'm not, I can sing, but, not perfect. If I was going to have another person on there, it was probably going to be difficult for them to sing it correctly because it's not a normal key. He does that a lot. But this time I was just like, bro, I have to make this beat work. So I had to go through a lot of testing to make sure my auto-tuning was right. Because what I think was the instrument he was using was probably already detuned. But because he detuned it 50 cents more, it just was all out of whack. So even trying to take it back like 50 cents just wasn't sounding right. In fact, I probably have an example of me trying to get the auto-tune right. I can show you how I do those. Like I said before, I can't freestyle. But sometimes what I do when I listen to a beat is, and I'm testing the auto-tune at the same time, I tend to just kind of mumble stuff just so I can get some melodies, like some melody ideas for how I want to sing on the track, as well as sometimes I do come up with lines. So I probably came up with something that I ended up saying. I don't know. That was the wrong one. I guess I have to just play a fast version.
Okay.
guess that's where I got Y from. That echo was fire. Chitty bong bong bang. But yeah, I speed it up and slow it down a lot to make sure the key is right as well. It kind of helps with like the 808 and the melody. I don't know, for some reason just having it faster and higher pitch makes it easy for me to tell whether or not the key is off or not. I don't know if that's normal for other people or not. I don't talk to a lot of people about making music, so I don't be knowing a goddamn thing. But so that ended up sounding right, and I ended up using a lot of those little cadences or whatever for the final song. And I knew I needed a female voice for this for the sake of, you know, the idea that I had. It just kind of made more sense. However, I didn't really know many women in the music community that I guess I'm around, except for a couple. And so I'm glad that Sim agreed to do this with me. I appreciate you, Sim, wherever you are. I already had the idea in mind though, so all she needed to do was just perform what I already said.
How come you don't seem okay, babe? How come you keep making the same face? How come I thought we had a great day? How come we can't stay on the same page often?
Yeah, she did her own version of that, and the rest was history, I guess. And at that point, the song was pretty much almost done. Then I had to figure out what the hell I was gonna say for this song, and then I just transitioned the song with like a swoosh and some sound effects.
I just remembered who I am.
Because I had to wait for mixing, this was probably I think this was the last song that got finished before the album. But this is one of those very important songs for the idea that I had, especially considering it was going right after You Win interlude, which my mom gave a clear idea of what You Win kind of meant at the end of the song. I don't even think she knows that she's on the album. But alright, that's it. Thanks to y'all who gave it a listen and enjoyed it. Told me y'all enjoyed it to yourselves and shit like that. If y'all want me to break down the other songs I produced, I probably can. I don't even know if this is considered a tutorial on how to make beats. I remember people were asking me to make tutorials for beats. I just never knew how to go about it or what to do. But if this was cool. You know, I was about to say leave a like, but I don't care.